Hello, my name is Victor Alvarez. I am the food service director at San Juan College. So I am from Miami, Florida. I lived in Miami for about 6 years, and then I lived in Puerto Rico for another 6 years. And then I moved back to Miami for like another year and then moved out to Las Vegas, Nevada when I was 12. And so I grew up there until I was about 22, 23. Having that was one of my major strengths in growing up there, that it was a Shark Tank, you could say. So, initially, New Mexico wasn't even on, mine or my wife's mind at the time. But one of our family members had an emergency, had an accident, and we had to go out and come out here and help, support them. And then I finally got a job in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I drove from Grants to Albuquerque, which is about an hour and a half drive every day for 6 months, about 6 months. That experience was really key as well in learning how to open a restaurant, because they did open up the doors and say, okay, well, this is how it's done, and from the ground up, starting fresh. So that was another key point in my cooking career, learning everything restaurateur wise, how to manage, how to build and flow a kitchen. So one of the things that I definitely remember from high school was a lot of my teachers, specifically my science teacher and my music teacher, because I was in orchestra from middle school all the way through till the end of high school. One of the things that I took from it was uh, just being always involved and um, having that sense of responsibility that young, starting to build that, because that's very key as well. Trying to get your work ethic, figured out, because it's a big thing in life. You have to have good work ethic, and know that working hard is really what needs to be done to be able to succeed. So currently, I am a food service director, and I'll kind of jump back just a little bit and say that just before I was a food service director, I was also in healthcare. I was a food service director for a nursing home. So that was another crucial section of my build of me building up to where I am now. I started as an account manager in a small uh, assisted living with like 120 beds. Just before I got this job, I was in the hospitals, in the healthcare business, and uh, then I had the chance to go to universities. So it wasn't 24/7, because the hospitals and the healthcare is 24/7. At least with schools and universities, you have a little bit of a break here and there, and just enough times for family, right? And so now that I am here in the college, I am responsible for the food and beverage department in the campus. So everything and all things food. Usually, when I come in around 7 o'clock to 7:30 in the morning, and it just involves me doing a walk around. Usually, I go all the way around my kitchen through the retail, do a complete walk around of the entire facility, just to make sure that nothing's leaking, nothing's blown up overnight. You never know. There's just a lot of scenarios that you can avoid just by making a walk around. So that's the first thing I do. I check everything, check logs, check just general safety things, and then after that, um, normally I would check on my stations, see how they're doing. Then I have also the responsibility of making sure that everyone showed up for their scheduled times. Um, then after that, I usually have a lot of meetings. A lot of my life revolves around meetings around campus, where I have to go and personally be there to either take orders from a department head, which would be our client, and or even student activities and things like that. Um, and of course, if I have even on-site caterings, I have to go and check on those. Vegas had a lot to do with my career building. So I did go to college for 2.5 years. But then when I turned 21, I started having kids, so I wasn't able to finish. I had to go full time working and um, and then just try and go back to school if I could was my plan. I started as a just a what they call a guest room attendant, which is just a maid. So I was a maid for 4 years, you could say, but I worked my way up in that as well. I moved out here to help my family. Um, at that point, that's when I went back into the kitchen, and this so that was like a total of almost 8 years ago, you know what I mean? But early on as a teenager when I was 18, just coming out of high school, I went to concepts like Cheesecake Factory and Flame Jumper, like I said, was the next one after that. So these concepts did, teach me a lot of things. After Albuquerque, we moved to Farmington, New Mexico, which is where I'm at now. And I also dove deep into culinary there, where I worked in Olive Garden for now of about almost 2 years as well, and then went into Sodexo, which is a very large company. And the thing is, they do help you get your ServSafe. So they'll ServSafe certification is the number one thing you want to do to become kitchen manager. You cannot become a kitchen manager without a ServSafe certification. And they usually cost around $100 to $200, depending on what website or what venue you go through to get them. But the company pays for them. If they're investing in you and they're like, okay, you're becoming a manager. So they trained me how to be a manager, and I was lucky enough to get into this company and get this training from this company. Um, and really, that's the way to go too. Look for these kinds of companies that really they invest in their people, you know? Well, right here, still, I have a lot of work to do here in this college and university. So we're definitely expanding a lot more within the next 5 years. And I'm just looking forward to it and can't wait. I'm excited. Try and find something that you don't feel is work almost, because for me, this is not always work. It's fun, most of the time for me because it's what I enjoy to do. I love to do it. So try and find something you love, and then stick with it. That's what I got to say.